action from the NFL, all being finalized. Discover Green Bay working on many of these projects, setting up online portals that people can access to get connected to some of the options available. And the NFL One Pass app also building its draft section for the Green Bay event. And Nick Meiser of Discover Green Bay joining us now to talk about all things draft and how they're preparing for 2025, kind of giving us an update of what's to come. Okay, first off, how close are you to having everything in place at this point?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think there's so many pieces and parts that it's hard to give an exact, percentage of how close we are. The NFL does this every single year, and we're just confident in their teams that they have in place, and the message that they've given to us is that we're doing really well, maybe even ahead of schedule on some things. So all indications from the team that's planning it are really, really positive right now.
How are you feeling personally about it?
I'm feeling great. Yeah, it's a once in a lifetime event to get to work on. I feel honored to be a small part of a large team that is doing so much for this community. And as somebody who grew up here, to be able to see my hometown on a national stage is really cool.
And being part of that too.
Yeah.
So what are the big parts still being kind of worked on? What are your main focuses right now?
Yeah, a lot of logistics still, right? We talk about parking and transportation all the time, as well as just kind of getting some of those details, finalized around, what things are happening in and outside of the actual draft footprint. But the NFL is really taking the lead on the planning. It's their event, and our role at Discover Green Bay is to support them. And with our friends and teammates over at the Green Bay Packers and at PMI Entertainment Group, we're kind of their corridor or their connection into the community resources that they need. So, just working with them closely and responding to their needs is the biggest thing right now.
So when you go to a Packer game, you see people park on people's lawns. I mean, that's the big thing here in Green Bay. That's where you do it, right? You just park on someone's lawn, you walk right over. And that is a big component of this that you're still trying to figure out. So talk a little bit about where you're at in that.
Yeah, parking, we park cars in my neighborhood growing up, and it's something unique to Green Bay. It really makes the game day experience really special, and really showcases the hospitality of our residents and businesses. So we want that same experience for draft attendees, many of whom may have not been to Lambeau before. So that might be a whole new experience. So, we are trying to get a little bit of a pulse on how many spaces that residents and businesses in the, nearby area will be available, just so we can kind of start to plan for that.
Yeah, so you're talking about walking area.
Walking distance,
surveying some people about walking distance, not anything too far out.
Yeah, we did ask residents and businesses from Argonne to Ashland and Cormier to 9th, so encompassing both municipalities of Green Bay and Ashwaubenon. And asking if they're going to have parking spaces available and what kind of amenities are available for dual purpose, really, for our knowledge, for planning, as well as to communicate to fans about what's available as well.
Okay, so hotel, motel still available and houses still being rented out at this point? Yeah,
the biggest thing with home rentals, Cami, is if you do want to do it, now's the time to start the process. Mm-hmm. If you're thinking you're going to rent out your home, it has to be legal. Yeah. You put yourself and the guests at risk if it's not. So we have a great resource on our draft page, a guide to rent your home, literally 6 steps that you can follow, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on, and to do it right. So get that process going. But there is still availability. Just call hotels, check Airbnb. If you keep on it, you'll be able to find stuff.
And volunteer opportunities. So people, if they want to take part in it, if they're locals, they can do that, and you have a resource for them as well.
Yeah. So the NFL does a program called Teammates, which they actually hire folks for. Things like security, concessions, wayfinding, things like that. And that's what that portal is for if you're interested. When that opens up, we'll let those folks know, and you can find that on greenbay.com/draft25. I would also encourage folks to reach out to their local event organizers, bid districts, because the downtown area is planning events. I know Military Avenue, there's all these little pockets of people doing things around the draft, and they may need volunteers as well. So reach out to them and see what their needs are.
It's going to take a lot of people. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about the NFL One Pass. Is that One Pass app?
Yes.
That is the place that you want people to download and go to for questions, right?
Yes, 100%. If there is one thing that we would like to tell people who are interested in coming to the draft, is to download the One Pass app, There is some information about the 2025 draft there now. As we reach closer, you will be able to register for the event, and you will actually get your QR code access to the event through OnePass. So if you have any questions about what's going on, that's the place. Schedule, that's the place. OnePass app is really where you're going to find the communication hub between the NFL and the fans. So it's really important to download that app.
Any indication on how many fans we're talking about yet? Have you put any numbers together?
You know, in the whole bidding process, we crunched some numbers looking at, you know, similar cities, areas, and what they drew, and we're thinking between 250 and 300,000 is where we're going to end up. But again, that's over 3 days, and it sounds like a big number, but we do big things here in Green Bay, right?
Right.
That's what we do.
We do. So that'll be interesting to see what those final numbers come around. And time really is ticking. I mean, when we hit 2025, you guys are going to be running until April.
Pretty much, yeah. We'll sleep in May.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you for having
Appreciate
me.
it.